Once again, we shift our focus to the United Kingdom now, where Prime Minister Boris Johnson was grilled by the opposition leaders over former Health Secretary Hancock's COVID conduct, as well as Johnson's response to this whole scandal. Now, the whole of Commons session was nothing short of a verbal spat between Boris Johnson and Labour Party leader Sir Keir Starmer. Starmer accused Johnson of acting too late and of attempting to sweep the scandal under the carpet. Remember that hours after intimate pictures of Hancock fondling with aid were published, the Prime Minister declared the matter closed.
Mr. Speaker, why didn't the Prime Minister sack the former Health Secretary on Friday morning?
Mr. Speaker, I read the story in common with you and everybody else on Friday, and we had a new Health Secretary in place by Saturday, Mr. Speaker, which I think, given that we have a pandemic, I think to move from one Health Secretary to the next with that speed was fast, Mr. Speaker, but it wasn't as fast as the vaccine rollout, Mr. Speaker, which is now going so fast that we've done in this week half of the under 30s, Mr. Speaker, have now had their first jab, and that is speed.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, what a ridiculous answer. The Prime Minister must have been the only person in the country who looked at that photo on Friday morning and thought that the Health Secretary shouldn't be sacked immediately. On Friday, the Prime Minister's spokesperson said, quote, "The Prime Minister considers the matter closed." Minister after minister were then sent out to defend the indefensible. It was briefed that the Prime Minister was quite happy for the Health Secretary to stay in his post. So, can the Prime Minister clarify, now he's got the chance, did he sack the Health Secretary or at any point ask him to resign? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Gentleman will notice that the Health Secretary has changed in the last 5 days. He complains about the speed with which that happened. This government moved at positively lightning speed by comparison to the right honourable gentleman opposite, who spent 3 days trying and failing to sack his deputy leader, Mr. Speaker, who he then promoted, Mr. Speaker. He fires and rehires.
Boris Johnson was also asked about the EU settlement scheme. The opposition leaders urged the Prime Minister to do away with the deadline, which ends today. Note that after Brexit, the European citizens living in UK had to apply for the settled status by 30th of June. That is, Johnson says that his government has received over 5.5 million requests, and those who wish to stay in the UK should fill out the application soon.
There is a backlog of hundreds of thousands of cases because of delays on decisions. Mr. Speaker, overnight, thousands of our friends and neighbours could become illegal immigrants. They are living in fears for their jobs, their families and their livelihoods, all because this Prime Minister won't keep his word. We know all too well the experience of this government's Home Office. Dawn raids, vulnerable people deported, a hostile environment for the Windrush generation.
Mr. Speaker, it's obvious from the statistics I've already quoted that this is an outstanding success, because we've had huge numbers of people applying. And, of course, if there are people still who have to apply, and there's been several extensions of the deadline. It's 5 years now since the Brexit referendum. We've funded 72 organisations to help vulnerable EU citizens to understand what their rights are, to make the applications. Anybody applying within the deadline will, of course, have their case dealt with, and I urge them to get on with it.
Now, the British Prime Minister was also asked about his unlock plan, to which Johnson said that all adults would have received at least one dose by the 19th of July, and that he is confident that the UK will fully reopen by the 19th as well. Speaking in the Parliament, Johnson also touted UK's vaccination programme. He said that the United Kingdom has overtaken Israel in vaccination numbers. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.